Hey, fellow freaksters, it's Tim from the Moratorium. Just here to remind you that if you enjoy what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe, then rinse and repeat. We're just a couple of small-town nerds trying to make sweet geek love to your ear holes, and we can use your support. Look for us on your favorite social media, or contact us at moviemoratorium@gmail.com. Now that that's out of the way, on with the shenanigans. Welcome to the Moratorium. I'm your host, Tim Kornman. Each week I will be joined by some esteemed, and I use that term loosely, movie watchers, and breaking down some of the weirdest and strangest films to ever, not necessarily, grace the big screen. These are the deep dive oddities and backroom bootlegs that appeal only to the die-hard film fans. So sit back and enjoy the ride into the dark vault of the movie Moratorium. All right, so now we're recording.
Oh, okay. Hi.
So
Do you
maybe it's better when I just kind of cut into the middle of our conversations,
yeah.
and then I don't think you haven't listened to the podcast, so that happens all the time.
No,
that
I
I have
haven't.
you just breaking in,
Mm-hmm.
like episode 2 has you coming in straight with Tom Cruise is fucking Rebecca De Mornay. That's like the first line. Yeah. And
Great.
then we go into sizing him
It's a good
up in
first line.
Smurf terms. So you don't remember
Hashtag
that at all,
Smurf.
do you?
Hashtag Smurf terms. No, I don't. Don't remember a bit of it.
It's good stuff. All right.
One of these days.
Well, welcome to the Moratorium. I'm your host,
Thank you.
Tim Kornman. And with me, usually and always,
Is Jason Walker.
there you go. All right. Got to work on my intro a little bit.
Yeah,
And
both do.
And I still, like I said, I think I'm going to try to beef in the please like, share, and repeat. Like, share, subscribe.
That sounds good.
I'll give you my address. You can send me a $1 bill every once in a while. I'll like
I
that.
wouldn't give people your address.
Oh, maybe that's not a good thing.
No.
Like, why are
Here,
there eggs
P.O.
all
box.
over my lawn?
Yeah. Yep. Darn kids.
Mm. Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Oh, negligence. He's just Donald Pleasance in every movie he's in. It's like
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a range.
they bring him in. They're like, Donald, do what you do best. You're like Wolverine. Just get in there and chew up the scenery.
Here's some scotch.
Here's a
Here's some
overcoat.
doers.
Here's a trench coat. And yeah, here's your exactly. He's just got like a fifth of. That's why he wears the baggy clothing.
Is that it? So he can hide the flasks. I'm sure there's
Mhm.
multiple flask pockets hidden.
He sloshes when he walks like Zelda Rubinstein.
This house is clean.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to?
Oh, introduce the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're doing a movie this week. Not only are we doing a movie,
This.
this is the start of our double feature, possibly a triple feature,
Mm-hmm.
just because they all go together.
We'll see how this goes, and then
Yeah. I think it's going to go well because I'm digging this. I just mostly watched it for the second time in the last week, and I enjoyed it more this second time, and this third viewing is going to be even better, I'm sure.
So why was that? Do you think? Did you enjoy it?
I don't know. Maybe I watched it in 2 sittings on the first one because I was tired and done with editing one night. And
Well, I think I have an idea of why is because you really have to watch it once to get kind of the feel of it. Like, this is what it's going to be like, which is not like a normal movie, because there
You
is,
got to warm up to it. Yeah.
there is minimal, I mean, just the barest scrap of a plot. It doesn't try to, I mean, it kind of tries to like give you a little bit of kind of mythology, or with the, well, anyway, that's I'm getting ahead of myself, but
so Lucio Fulci.
mm-hmm.
I mean, this wasn't his first foray into film. I mean, he's been doing film for quite some time.
Yeah, for years before this, but they were like dramas and comedies and stuff like that.
I want to know what a Lucio Fulci comedy was about.
Oh God, do you think Bob would be in it?
Bob,
Abe.
They oh my gosh, what's that kid's name? The kid's name in this is John.
Oh my God.
And he reminded me so much of Tony.
Yeah, I don't like Tony. Tony's still my least favorite, but
if we can pit Tony and John together in a cage match,
oh God,
where they dip their hands in glass, and glue and glass and go after each other, that would be awesome.
Just hang them from ropes and toss them at each other. No, but we got to include the fucking Bob, the kid.
Bob is Giovanni Lombardo Radici,
maybe.
Radici, yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of, he's almost like the same character from like Return of the Living Dead.
How do you mean?
Well, he just reminded me of him.
Of which guy? Of Tom Matthews, the lead.
Thank you.
Yeah. The guy that turns in.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Or Tommy Jarvis, right?
Yes. Right.
Yes.
His face looks haunted when I look at him. Not even just the character, but like the actor underneath is like.
I don't think they put eye makeup on him. His eyes were just naturally that red and sunken in.
Oh my God, there's so many close-ups of bloodshot eyes and
so
just many oily T-zones, and that's all this movie is. I mean, yeah. Well, let's get into it, because like.
Well, set it up, all right? So, because this is a trilogy, was it meant to be a trilogy when they started?
I don't know, and I don't know that, I mean, I think maybe it's a trilogy in the same sense that, like, Evil Dead's a trilogy or something, where it doesn't have to, I don't even know if it's the same, like, town because in this one it's, okay, that's a good place to start off. This movie happens... We're supposed to be in America. So that's a good thing to keep in mind as the movie goes along, because it's filmed completely in Italy. But
right. And that's why we have one American actor. He's got to sell
it. Yes. Christopher George, he's in a lot of he's a great character actor.
So yeah, Christopher George, we'll talk about him some more. Some of his IMDb trivia is a little deep.
Oh no, I read the whole thing and I was like, ooh. By the way, like the first couple of sentences of Lucio Fulci's IMDb are like, whoa, I don't even know if I want to bring this up because it's too much info.
So where do you want to start? You want to start the film and then ease our way into the bios? Or do you want to jump right out and say the juiciest thing?
I don't know. I just, this is going to be a little confusing for us because there really isn't okay, so the first scene is the seance, right? Is that correct?
The first scene is the hanging.
Yes, the priest.
Right? So the priest is wandering through... They must have used the fog machines from the Sword and the Sorcerer.
Yeah. I wonder if they just kept all of the fog in like a big balloon and then just like let to save on money.
Man, there's just a lot of kids vaping in the background.
Yep. But yeah, the fog does a lot of the work in this movie. I love it. Lucio Fulci, I don't know. He has, I mean, it is a very distinctive film style, but like we said, like the pans of oily T zones, and
Mhm.
but he does have those like slow pans over like, the cemetery with all the smoke and stuff. And I'm like, that looks really,
Mhm.
it looks crappy, but at the same time, it's really getting me kind of freaked out a little bit.
He must have been torn between using the fog machines and using the giant industrial
Yes,
fans.
which I,
Because if there's not fog, there's tremendous wind
yeah,
in this film.
yes. Yeah, Bob could fly the blow up doll like a kite if he wanted to, but we'll get to that later.
Can't
I'll bring
wait.
that up again.
So the priest is walking through the cemetery, and we show this tombstone several times.
Yes.
It says, "The soul that pines for
Mm.
eternity shall outspan death. You, dweller of the twilight, void come Dunwich."
Yes.
I don't understand.
That okay.
Explain that to me.
Well, it could have done with some. They could have used some punctuation, which would have helped. Like
there's one period in there.
Is there one period? Well, there could definitely be a. Gosh, I mean a semicolon at least to let you know when they stop. But yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, I think this is like a homage to H.P. Lovecraft. Has to be, that kind of I don't know, weird shadow dimension where dead people walk around, and it's classic.
Yeah.
But anyway, they go out of their way to say it's
they want you to know it's Dunwich.
yeah, and Dunwich, and one of the guys said, I don't know if it's already been said or if it comes up later, but they say that this is it used to be called Salem.
Dunwich was made on top of Salem.
Right, and then after the witch trials or something, they renamed it Dunwich or something, which I think
which was the original site of the Salem witch trials.
Okay, so
yeah, I think that's what they're saying. Not what we know as Salem.
Right. Yeah.
So this priest is walking through the cemetery and just decides to hang himself. Or is this supposed to be years past? Because I was just confused.
Yeah, you should be.
Because we go straight into the seance where they're trying to I don't know who are they even trying to conjure?
One of the we can get to that, but because that's the very next scene. But like, we do need to nail down if this. So I think all of this is happening at the same time, same timeline. Him hanging himself wasn't something that happened in the past. It's like modern day.
Okay.
He hangs himself, and then all of these weird phenomena start happening. So anyway, he hangs himself. He kind of looks like Stanley Tucci. I can't think of another actor.
No, I can't.
Maybe
we'll work on that.
But everybody in this has like irritated eyes. I don't know if like Lucio Fulci took like.
It must be the fog machines.
Either the fog machines or
he gave everybody pink eye before they started.
Yes, that's my hypothesis.
It's not that they're doing the seance and they see that the priest is hanging himself. The priest is actually hanging himself while in Dunwich, and they're in New York doing a seance.
Okay, so yes, right. See, already, I don't think you're meant to think too deeply about the plot, because every time I try to, okay, but anyway, so they have a seance, they cut to a seance, and there's an old lady with an afro, white lady with an afro.
Right. And I love this. So they start just screaming. She sees, because it does a nice little cool, I kind of like that transition from from her eyeball to seeing the priest hanging like in her pupil,
And there's like a lightning crash, like, oh, and we should also say that this is the score for this.
Oh, it's very John Carpenter.
Yeah, John Carpenter, Dario Argento, Goblin, it's all like synthesizers
and I dig it.
Yes.
The music really, really, I don't know. It made me feel like Assault on Precinct 13 or you can go down just about every John Carpenter film. That's what it felt. It just feels like that time.
Yep.
So let's go to this seance. This seance is great because they totally pull out a That 70s show.
Yeah.
Going from face to face and eyes to eyes.
It's like the camera's on a Lazy Susan in the middle of the table, and it just kind of pans over to everybody's eyes.
I just expected to see them just get all stoned, and but because their eyes are red anyway.
Mm-hmm. One of the girls' eyes is going to get really red later.
Now, she starts spitting and convulsing, and she drops to the floor and starts having a seizure, and
great.
Nobody goes to her aid.
Well, they don't want to break the circle, or the holy demons will tear their hands off or something.
Oh, Tawny Katayan will come out, and
if only.
So yeah, she almost looked like a Nancy Cartwright when she started screaming and kind of foaming at the mouth, like she was spitting up some chicken grease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she really sold it, and then she had a little seizure. And then was it because she saw did she have kind of a flashback to the cemetery or to the priest hanging himself?
Well, I think that's what they were saying, that she channeled the priest.
Oh, when she
at that same moment, that's what
she was making,
put her into a seizure-like state that killed her.
Or at least,
quote unquote, killed her. But I like this guy that's the investigator.
Okay, yeah.
And he goes up to one guy and he's like, hey, are you trying to say that she was scared to death?
Yeah.
And the other guy's just like, uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else?
But the woman pipes in, which is the big medium, and I think they introduce her as being like one of them, you're Mrs. head medium of New York.
Right. And they think it's all a bunch of...
Yeah, she calls him like comic book detective.
That guy is he's in a bunch of Lucio Fulci's movies.
I like
yes.
him. I wish he would have come around in this more.
It's
because this is a limited cast.
Yeah, and we also should say that everybody in the movie everything is dubbed. Everything is just ADR. Like nobody is using their,
except for Christopher George. Is that what you're saying?
But it's all, you can just tell it's all from a studio. Like there's no mic.
So there's a big bright flash of fire.
I love that.
I don't remember seeing that.
I love that little effect. It's almost like when they're in the poltergeist house and like one little weird thing will happen and the cop's like, I can't explain that, but still doesn't mean that it's, Yeah, you're right. The black detective is really cool. That guy, the regular cop that's with him, I guess like just like the local cop that's with him.
Yeah, he just had like one line.
He can't figure out what to do with his arms in this shot because they're just like dangling to his side, and he's got his like cop pants like hiked up like right under his nipples. Anyway, that cop.
I got hiked up cop pants.
Yep, hiked up cop pants.
Next scene, though, we have Bob walking in. It looks like an abandoned warehouse.
Looks not good.
No, but that's where we bring in the industrial fans,
yes.
Just blowing shit all over the place.
Well, maybe it's windy in Italy. I don't know.
But are we to think that this is Bob's house?
No.
Is he squatting here?
Yes, of course. Bob is like just...
That's all he is. He's just a wander. We don't even know who he is or why he is.
Yeah.
He's just a squatter.
This is the real horror of this movie, is what Bob does in this abandoned house.
I guess he has hidden this blow-up doll.
Yes.
I love this because
God, he's got a dirt.
It's a self-inflating blow-up doll.
Yeah. Okay.
And he looks at it like Bronson Pinchot is going after a key of coke.
Yeah. What's a cheap blow-up doll like you doing in a dirty abandoned house like this? His windbreaker is really upsetting too. It's just dirty in all the wrong places. Like Ugh, Bob is a gross out character. He's the town pedophile or something,
Yeah,
like,
but these girls are flocked to him. They're like, "Oh, hey, Bob, how you doing?"
yeah. Hey, Bob, have you seen my bra? It must have snapped off of my body when I,
when I bent over.
yeah.
So Bob's sexual encounter is interrupted here
Oh,
by.
please don't say that.
Now, are we to assume this is supposed to be a dead baby?
Yes, gross. I forgot about that. Yes, it is a baby-sized, like, meatloaf,
Yeah,
with some worms on it.
with worms. So then we go to Christopher George is going to the precinct. So it was maybe he's hot on this story about this girl, and that's why he's there.
I guess, but if there's a reason, I don't know. I have no idea. They don't really set up his character very well.
No, they don't. He just kind of shows up. But this was interesting. I just wanted to read this off of IMDb trivia because it made me laugh. Christopher George appeared as a centerfold in Playgirls magazine.
I read the same
June of
thing.
1974.
74?
74. You can't look at him and think, "Oh man, I wonder what he looks like in a centerfold."
No, nothing like that. Oh, gross.
So is this the same cop there that Christopher George is talking to? The one that doesn't know what to do with his hands?
Oh my god.
Big
no,
mustache?
definitely
No,
not.
I didn't think it was the same guy.
No, that was the older guy. That guy was cracking me up though. I don't even understand him talking to that cop in that weird little he has to walk up a set of stairs, and you can tell that the cameraman is like kind of jammed into like the corner of the stairs, so both of them are talking like real
They
close
are
to
like
the camera.
4 inches away from they're
Yeah.
about kissing when they're talking.
Yes, he
Yeah.
could just like take his mustache and just slap it on Christopher George. Now he's wearing the mustache. But yeah, anyway, that scene's funny. But okay, so the next scene I really want to talk about is the guys in the bar, which you assume. I mean, I love that it's showing the entire city of New York, and it's just so Italy. It's so Italian. That's where they are.
This is definitely this Junie's Lounge looks just like the Quick Stop from Clerks.
Or like sort of. Yeah, just a little ramshackle, kind of like the bar from Silver Bullet or something. I don't know. It's just like paneled walls and cigarette stains.
I think all they serve there is Schlitz. I'm pretty sure. Schlitz and Schlitz Light.
God, these guys are so dubbed. It's like they couldn't have found. It's like all the characters got mixed up when they did the vocals. Like the fat guy is supposed to be the other. Anyway, when one's talking, it just everything that comes out of their mouth sounds like unnatural.
So it's just usually these three. So we could just assume that these three. This is
10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. So this is our norm.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What was John Ratzenberger's character's name? Holy shit.
Cliff Clavin.
Yeah, Cliff. So Norm, Cliff, and Sam.
It's like if they did a real version of Cheers, when everybody clearly has signs of cirrhosis and,
The bartender kind of reminded me of a Dennis Franz.
Maybe, or sort of like a M. Emmett Walsh character, sort of a little bit.
Yeah. So they're all sitting there in the bar, just enjoying their morning breakfast,
Tanqueray or whatever the hell. It's sort of grossing me out a little bit. Imagine what that place smells like. So they're bitching about living in Dunwich. Because there's all kinds of weird shit going on, and the kind of panicky guy is like, "I'm, selling the house, selling the kids, getting the hell out of here." And
the other kids,
and the other guys are like, "Oh, we'll just ride it out."
So they get freaked out because the mirror shatters behind them.
Yes, in a really unnatural way.
Very in that. Yeah, very
Like it's
strange.
either, yeah.
And the bartender's just like, hey, it's nothing. No, come back over here. We're good. Come on, let's go enjoy a drink on the house.
Yeah, let's all, don't worry.
It's going to be noon somewhere.
Yes.
And part of the wall breaks, and we get another shot, a slow shot of everybody's expression as they saw this crack form in the wall and some of that smoke coming through. Some kids vaping in the bathroom, and it's coming through.
I kind of like that where they made that wall crack and this, again, some smoke coming through. Those guys fucking laid her out of there into the fog. Like everything else is foggy too. Did you notice that when they ran out?
Oh, was it still foggy outside?
Yeah, like everything was like obscured by fog.
It's hiding the rest of New York and or Dunwich.
So Dunwich looks exactly like I pictured Dunwich to look.
Now I'm on to this guy. Is he a shrink?
Yes, he is a psychiatrist.
He is like
either that or he is freelance giving advice because he has one of those like, cardigans with the leather like elbows and a beard.
And
I hate those guys in these movies.
And he's not any better. His acting is so deadpan.
Also, if he is a psychiatrist, everything that he is doing is so inappropriate. Like he is dating one of his, I assume he's dating one of his students.
She looks like a student, right? She comes in.
Yes. And that whole scene is very weird. His tie is one of those like flat square ties from back in the day that's like a kind of woven or something.
I used to have one of those. I probably still have that same tie. It's
like a step away from a piano tie.
I will tell you that tie never got me laid. Okay, so if you're shrinking, do you have
obviously banging one of your students? He's it makes him. It never says like explicitly like what he is. But you assume since he's like psychoanalyzing this blonde, and he has I guess if you have a recumbent blonde in your office, then sky's the limit, I guess. And books. He does have a bunch of books.
And so she's petting a cat, a little kitten, while she's talking. It scratches her, and she kind of throws it into the chair. And there's a slow take on her, him, and then the cat. It zooms in on the cat, trying to get the cat's expression.
Doing that, that whip pan kind of thing where it goes from face to face. She's like, meow, why are you looking at me? That is weird.
We cut to the cemetery where two guys that are on union time, gravediggers.
Gravediggers.
They're exhuming a body.
I guess I was confused about this because, so the girl that dies at the quote unquote dies at the seance, that's Mary. Is that what you're saying? Her name is Mary? Anyway,
you need to have close. It's blonde girl number 2.
Unimportant. Yes. Unimportant. But this is her. We saw her funeral. It's a normal day for those guys, and they're going to
as they bury her in a fresh grave, but then they're digging up somebody else. I wasn't sure because there's a skeleton at the bottom of this grave, and
like archaeologists or something.
And Christopher George comes up doing his best.
What?
Yeah, he's got a cigar, and is he doing like a Jerry Stiller thing?
Maybe, yeah, a little bit. He does have the same like hair and stuff,
and the jacket. The jacket goes right there with it. I'm thinking these two guys, it could almost be a
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern kind of situation.
No, I was going with Swingers. Who?
Oh, you're so money, and you don't even know it. Is that what you're talking about? He does kind of look like Vince Vaughn a
Vince
little
Vaughn.
bit.
There you go. Vince Vaughn. And who's
Yeah.
next to him? They're the Wedding Crashers, but now they're
Yeah.
playing
Oh, yeah.
the Cemetery Crashers.
Yeah, exactly. Owen Wilson.
Owen
Damn, I
fucking
couldn't.
Wilson. Yeah, it's Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson right there. Gravediggers. Or robbers.
Just a couple of bros that like to hang out and
they're eating lunch while they're hovering over this corpse, this skeleton.
Yep. Let's move on, because
Christopher George, he's supposedly just coming to check out the grave of this girl that was supposedly, he's investigating this girl who was scared to death.
This scene is probably, I don't know, 7 minutes longer than it needs to be. It is just him squinty-eyed trying to discern if he has heard a woman screaming or not.
Right.
There's
from
only
inside
one...
she wakes up inside of her coffin and starts clawing at the lid, and she screams, and Christopher George thinks he hears something, but then you hear an airplane go over, and then jungle sounds, and they were just throwing everything out. Just
Tuki. Yeah. Like anything.
So he just has this odd look on his face before he realizes that maybe the girl is screaming from inside the coffin.
Yeah.
And
long story short, he turns away, and she does a particularly blood-curdling one. And he realizes that she is still alive in her coffin.
Right. She has not been embalmed.
Exactly. Don't even worry about that, guys. So he grabs a pickaxe.
The first thing he reaches for.
And immediately starts jabbing it into the coffin. The coffin is not fully under the dirt.
No, it's barely covered. Like these two like Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, they barely started covering her up, and then said, "Hey, let's go dig up this other thing over here, and then eat lunch." And
they're just thinking about the next, sandwich. And
so when he goes at this freaking coffin with the pickaxe, it's hilarious.
It provides tension because he almost fucking sticks it through her forehead
several times.
But couldn't he just kind of brush some of that dirt away and just open the goddamn coffin?
That would have been way too easy.
He's overreacting big time. I love that scene where he rips up. I mean, I'm glad that that's what happened, because when he does rip up that, final piece of the coffin, it does look cool that she's like...
And there's some blood on part of it where she's been scratching for a minute.
Yeah, that is terrifying too. Smash cut from that to them in the medium's apartment.
Yep.
And the girl is fine.
Yeah.
She probably took a shower, I would think, but she looks calm, cool, and collected.
And they're like, "Oh, if it wasn't for you, she would be dead. Do not act, Afro lady.
Don't emote. No. Let your hair do all the emoting." Her apartment is fucking rad. It looks like Anton LaVey's living room, kind of. But the more she explains things, the less I understand about what's going on in the movie. She says, "Are you acquainted with the Book of Enoch?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, I heard of it." What of it? I don't know. Nobody cares. It's like, there's a book now? Okay. Do we have to find it, or?
So, but there's a little bit of exposition here, and this is where it comes out. Basically, that Mary, while she was dead, quote unquote dead in the coffin, she had a vision. She had a vision of this priest, that this priest has died and opened up one of the gates of hell. Mm-hmm. There's our plot.
I guess, if that's what we're going with.
That's it. We've got to find this priest's grave. That's what they decided on.
Okay.
We must find where this priest has hanged himself.
Yeah, and it's on a certain night.
You saved her.
Now you're the...
Well, she says this real quick, too. She says, you were supposed to be there. It was written. And that's when she brings up, have you heard of the Book of Enoch? It was his fate, Mr. Christopher George, it was his fate of being there to save her so that they could stop this from happening.
Okay.
There. That's our plot.
If you say so.
Did you not get that?
No,
okay.
I mean,
good enough.
that all tracks. I mean, it's fine for a
after school special.
Just don't think about it so hard. Don't think about just watch the...
I've enjoyed this movie so much, but we haven't got to the enjoying the best parts
it's
yet.
Getting ready.
Oh,
it's getting ready to get real good. Real good.
So this girl shows back up. She's going to look for Bob. All right. And I guess she knows that this is where he hangs out in this abandoned warehouse place, that there are nudie mags everywhere. If you haven't seen, he's like in the bed and he's shivering and he's, frightened to death. And there's pictures of nudie girls on the wall. And
is Bob just so horny that he's turning himself into a mutant or something?
Maybe.
Does he apply that white stuff to his face every day?
Yeah. So she goes to see how he is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check on Bob.
Bob, how are you? And they hear a weird noise, and he jumps up and throws her down and runs away.
Basically uses her head to get up and then throws her back down.
And she starts to run away, and then she gets attacked by the priest, who has a handful of sludgy mud and worms.
I call it yuck.
Oh, call it yuck. And he just slimes it all over her face. But I love that when he brings his hand down, you see his face in the background. It almost looks like a Bela Lugosi kind of,
Yeah, when that hand comes down.
And that white face and the red eyes and yeah.
Pretty fucking cool. He's like, eat it, girl. This is another scene where this guy's incompetence. If he is a psychiatrist, he is the worst psychiatrist ever, because his relationships with his patients and his employees is really inappropriate. He writes Bob on graph paper and then circles it.
Wait, did we gloss over the fact that she was killed?
Who?
That the priest with the muddy hand killed her, basically?
No. We're gonna cut back to that. We haven't. It's happened, but
why did the parents call the?
They think that Bob did it. They're already blaming.
Did they
Bob.
Find her already, and that's what it was?
After this scene, they find her. After the guy and the girl.
Oh, were they just saying that she's missing and we need our shrink's help? I just didn't know what that phone call was about. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what that was about.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm sure she's fine and not murdered with like weird graveyard guts in her face.
That was a hard zoom right into his eyes.
Yes, and one of his eyes looks real weird, and I didn't want to concentrate on that. When he comes in with the camera, like to the back window of their Lander, they're like cool car. I love whatever
that car, whatever that is.
I don't know what that is. I have no idea. That's a cool shot.
It's probably ice cream van.
Yeah, it kind of looks more like something that you would like hunt gazelles with in like South Africa or something.
So it's just a guy and a girl making out in a cool safari van.
Land Rover.
Yeah,
safari van is a good.
And they keep hearing noises or what?
Yeah,
he's really just trying to cop a feel and stick his hand in her bra.
I do enjoy that too, is that he turns the lights on. I like that little camera goes down to the lights. And so she sees the priest and she looks over to this dude like, do you see that fucking dead priest? And he's like, yeah, let's get the shit out of here. Tries to start the truck. The priest disappears and his girlfriend... Man, the sound effects in this are so creepy. but she turns around to look out of the passenger window, sees, kind of looks like Father Guido Sarducci
There
without
you
the giant hat. But yeah, you can see the tubes hid under her bangs. She starts crying blood, and her boyfriend's basically like, oh, he. And do you get the little demon burp like before she starts like foaming at the mouth? It goes, but her boyfriend's like, okay, so
So she starts spitting up some blood and some nastiness. Go ahead.
Yeah, she starts. You can see it is clearly the actress who's still getting blood pumped into her eyes, throwing up what looks like, I mean, they are intestines. I don't know what animal. Pig?
Well, it
possibly?
Says here in IMDb trivia
Mm-hmm.
for Daniela Doria, that's her name, Daniela, whatever, in her death scene, in which her character vomits up internal organs, the actress swallowed and regurgitated a plate of tripe.
Which is just guts.
And in close-ups, a fake head was used, which contained and pumped out the spewed organs more forcefully. But, all right, forcefully is just
love that sentence. More forcefully. Like, how do we get these guts to, is there some way we can hook it up to like compressed air or something?
She sells it pretty good, spitting up this tripe.
That's what because obviously, I mean, the most like, you know, the coolest effect of that scene is her, obviously the actress with that crap in her mouth.
And she just
barfs it up.
They are just pumping that blood into her eyes. It has to be the most miserable time she's ever had.
Well, that girl is in, I want to say she's in more of his movies, and
she came back for more. Huh?
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, yeah, let's do this.
But when they switch to the fake head and they start really pumping in, I mean, it's obvious.
And I thought that too was like, okay, I'll do this for you guys, but that's I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not putting any more shit in my mouth. And then they were like, fuck, we're just gonna have to recreate her.
But they went all out. I mean, so much comes out so quickly. And at the end, it appears like a stomach coming, like she vomits up her own stomach.
The entire digestive system is coming out.
It's beautiful.
Just because she saw a priest.
Yep. So the boyfriend tries to get away. He can't get out of the car, and I guess the priest is in the back seat now. And this is what we get for the zombies aren't here to eat your brains. The zombies are here to grab you by the back of the head and crush your skull and pull out what hair and brains you have from the back of your head. I love it still. It works for me.
This whole scene where they're doing the walk and talk with Christopher George and the chick, everything that he's saying is like, it's like so ambiguous what is actually going on in this movie.
He doesn't really care either. He's not really into it. He's just going along for the ride.
Yeah, he has a real weird energy in this movie. Like, is he trying to fuck that chick? Because
you kind of think so.
Also, when they pull up to that like shop where the girl died, it is so foggy. It looks like they have a tire fire going on, like right off,
just off camera. Yep.
Yes, and it is just like everybody's like, like just.
So inside where they're looking at the girl who just got killed by the priest with the worm hand.
I like that look on her face, like terrified
that she just died with this horrible look on her face.
Yes, I like that a lot.
Open mouth, but like she just got fed the worms.
Yeah, it's like, you know, How to Eat Fried Worms, that book. She should have read that.
That they didn't preserve the crime scene whatsoever. Dad's there.
Who is the psychiatrist related to?
Do you think?
Because okay, that's his underage teenage girlfriend, and he is comforting her father when they find her dead with goo next to her.
Is that what it is?
I think so. The deputy's like, Sheriff, look at this. And he's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like a homeless person from Seattle crapped on me. So that's where they decide that Bob is the
because
Bob's behind all of this stuff.
Because there's goo with worms.
Yeah. And honestly, I know that, I mean, I'm privy to all this other information. I know Bob didn't do a lot of that stuff. I still think he shouldn't be allowed to be within 100 yards of a school or beyond the events of this movie. Something needs to be done about Bob anyway, you know.
Do you think that they made the connection that maybe they knew that Bob had worms?
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh yeah. His like went to the bait shop or something, or he has his own bait shop,
or he's just infected with worms. Mm-hmm. So who is this old lady that's now dead? They said that she has now been scared to death, and that's what there seems to be a running theme in this, is that people are dying by fright. No, moving on, because now we're embalming the girl that they just found, right? Which was Emily.
Yes. Yeah, she's the psychiatrist's girlfriend, I guess. I don't know.
So Emily, which is John's sister, and now you've got the creepy...
Oh yeah, you better take John out. I didn't see that before. That's making me laugh now. Please take John out.
Okay, so now we got Christopher George and the girl lost on the highway. But this is what I was trying to... I thought this is a scene that was coming up when we jumped ahead, is that the funeral director is going by, and besides him being creepy earlier and putting on the makeup, but he's looking at the bodies. I don't know why he still has the coffins open, because nobody's visiting. But he's just kind of being creepy and looking and touching the bodies, and steals a necklace off of Emily. That's what that's what he's doing. He's just
I feel like Emily is the real like Laura Palmer of their town. Like, she got up to some kind of crazy stuff, and nobody's like that surprised that she died, you know. But everybody wants a piece of her because she's like so hot, you know. Does that make sense?
But the funeral director goes over to the old woman to steal some of her jewelry, and something bites his hand, and I love the look on this guy's face as he's just
forgot
screaming. About that. But you hear the monstrous sound just... I
love whatever they're using for that. It's like it's really hard to describe. It's like slowed down cats making out, or like a bobcat or something, and then like heavy breathing,
garbage disposal with grapes in it,
and then like pasta being squeezed through some like pantyhose or something.
Foley art 101. So anyway, back to our film, and funeral director sticks his hand in, and the grandma monster, whatever, bites him. There's a brief one frame scene. I cannot get stopped on that frame, but there's just a little bit of blood on grandma's hand, but she has not moved at all. I mean, it's just real creepy.
She looks like the old secretary lady from Student Bodies.
Yeah. You know? Mrs. Mumsley.
Yeah, Mumsley.
All right, moving on. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay, so there's some Christopher George stuff. I don't even know if I want to know what they're saying. Okay, I'm confused about their relationship. Are they trying to find Dunwich?
Yes, because they end up talking to a priest later who gives a little bit of exposition that explains it all.
They get some exposition, and then he gives like a look to the camera, like, well, hope they don't die by being possessed by demons and throwing up their guts and stuff.
So here's a little unsettling scene where you've got John just sitting on the edge of his bed, and did you see the rocking chair just rocking ever so slightly by itself. That was just kind of creepy.
Didn't know what that meant. Yep.
But this kind of gave me a feeling.
Everything about John is creepy. Okay.
But this reminds me of like a Salem's Lot, because you see the window, you see, and it's definitely a white fog outside of it. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what I thought. I like ghouls. You know what I mean? Like people that are actually people, but they're like controlled by this, like a Renfield type thing, or the guy from Fright Night, Yeah, you said something about the rocking chair, but I'd also like him seeing
the face.
He see his sister,
the underlit face.
Yes, it was a super cool shot.
Yeah, the zombie faces are pretty damn cool in this. They really are. I mean, they're gruesome.
I had some stuff about the FX guy, Bertolucci.
Bertolucci, you're gonna love my pasta.
Look, every time you try that, it's just you're gonna have to edit all of that out because you can't.
I can't do that. Is that offensive?
I don't think.
If I'm saying it's a Mario, it's fine.
Yeah, I guess all of the Mario Brothers video games are offensive if you think about it that way.
I'm going to offend our Italian listeners because someday we might have some.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
His sister coming back to him, with that underlit, and that gross stuff on her face.
Right.
That was really cool. That's all I wanted to see.
We'll catch up to John and those adventures later. But he that's why he runs up to his mom and dad's just like, "Hey, we've all been through some shit today, kid. Go back to bed."
His mom is basically like a lady from Faulty Towers. She's like, "Oh, I know."
Very good.
That's kind of what she looks like. Anyway, he's being a big crybaby because he saw his zombie sister.
But we have Sandra. Sandra's painting the picture of a rhino, and she starts hearing shit in her house.
Okay.
And
yes, I wanted to talk about that rhino.
It's a paint by numbers rhino.
Why? Are you sure? Is that what it is? Why is she painting a rhino?
Because it's the only animal that she had control of as a reference.
It looks cool. Okay.
But so she starts hearing some shit, so she calls and brings in her psychiatrist because she has no other friends. She has nobody else to call.
Guys, body count is stacking up. Everybody just stick together. And
that's what this, we've got to get these characters back together. And she starts freaking out. You need to come over here and check this out. And his acting.
Oh my God. Again, if he is a psychiatrist, he needs to be disbarred or whatever they need. He is a horrible person to talk to.
He's got no feeling in his voice whatsoever.
He doesn't have a lot of empathy.
Nope. Okay, but he goes over to her house, and I kind of like this scene too.
She's like, my walls are growling at me. He's like, there's no reason to be worried about that. I'll be over in a minute.
We stop and get some condoms along the way.
I'll be there in about 3 hours. I'm going to bake a potato first, and then I'm going to clean out my bathroom. Haven't
done that in a while.
Oh my God. Bob could not die soon enough for me. I am ready for him to be released into the next world.
So basically, we just followed Bob back into breaking into another place just so he can sleep. That's it.
Which this scenario has been brought up before by the gentleman at the bar. They have everybody's looking for Bob, right? Because they think that he killed, what's her name? Anne? Who knows? Anyway, the story is impenetrable. What's happening? Like, you can't make heads or tails of it. According to the guys at the bar, Bob has already run off with this girl. They have a history. Right.
So Bob killed Emily. Emily was John's sister who just showed up at the house. That's what they think, that Bob is the one that killed Emily.
Yes. But then one of the guys at the bar also said, like, remember when he ran off with Anne, that one time? So he's already like, they already don't like
Right.
him.
He's quick to pin it on.
Yeah, and honestly, I fucking agree. Get rid of Bob. So that's what's going to happen, I think.
I do like this car that the psychologist, who the fuck he is, he's driving.
What is it, like a Lincoln?
It kind of looks like a Lincoln. It's a huge red car, but it's
yes, with
a convertible top.
That is a Monte Carlo, maybe? A convertible Monte Carlo?
But he parks it right into that big tree in front of Sandra's house.
His bumper, he's like, all right, this is all how I know to stop when I fucking can't move forward anymore. He probably couldn't see the tree for all the fucking fog.
And I love how Sandra answers the door with a gun by her face. She's total.
She should, because everybody is dying. Mm-hmm.
And she tries to hide that gun from him, like, you didn't see this. This is nothing to see here. But he's quick to grab it from her later when she's like, I got to show you something. There's something in my kitchen. Oh, it's a fucking dead body.
She seems like she is reacting to and handling the situation better than like some of the other people, because he was asking her about the gun or bullets or something, and she said maybe a crucifix would be better, She at least is admitting, like, yes, there's fucking weird shit going on and people are rising from the dead, and you're just wearing a cardigan and not doing anything.
But she's real calm about it, because she's like, maybe you get the feeling maybe she thinks that this shit's going on in her head. Has she had this in her head before? And she's like, I'm just going to drink. And then he walks into the kitchen and sees the dead body there.
And then you realize, oh, she's got her shit more together than anybody else, because she's had a fucking dead Cloris Leachman in the fucking 70s kitchen.
And he looks up to her and they talk or something. And she says something like, oh, so you saw her too.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's Miss Holden. She's fucking looks like a dried apple sculpture. But anyway, he's seriously incompetent, and
I love this. They just have a little bit of conversation, and then they hear some monstrous shit going on, some sounds, and this is how everybody reacts to these sounds.
If I'm hearing that sound that is like a little kid screaming and a bobcat and a
rhinoceros upstairs
and a bus, then.
But so they hear these monstrous sounds and they react like, let's just go into the other room. It's okay.
No.
Maybe you should fucking run.
That definitely was a demon. How else do you even describe that?
So they go in to find out that the little old Mrs. Holden is missing. And maybe she's what's upstairs making noise. Well, let's not go up there to find out. Nope. Let's not even leave the house. Nope, everything's fine. Just ignore it. It'll go away.
He said, don't be ridiculous. Bodies just don't get up and then there's like, it's like, it's probably just the wind.
So we go through all the rooms of the house, turning the lights on, checking out the rooms. There's nothing in here. Yeah, see, there's no monsters. There's no dead bodies. Maybe we're both hallucinating.
Yeah, it's just a bad dream. I think we should just calm down.
And then, and the freaking window shatters and spits glass into the freaking art. Is that a canvas? I just thought it was a canvas, the wall, whatever. Why didn't the glass go into the back of the guy's head? It would have sold it for me. But now blood is coming from the canvas and or wall. We don't know. But do they leave?
Yeah. Do they leave, like, run out to their station wagon and just like haul ass out of there? All that glass it looks like Dayquil is
Oh
coming
yeah.
out of the. It's very not. It doesn't look like blood.
No, it's very thin.
It's like
But I think
maraschino
because
cherry
she
juice or
says,
something.
"Is that blood?" I think she sells it by saying it's blood.
Yeah, she kind of looks like Debbie Harry a little bit.
Maybe so.
Can we kill Bob, please?
I'm to
Please,
the
let's kill
Bob
Bob.
scene. I was waiting for you. All right, so girl, which we don't even know who this girl is, right?
Like I said, when there is a couple of lines of dialogue when they're at the bar that says Bob has run away with this girl before or something.
Oh, okay.
Like they went out into the woods. So they have a history.
Okay, but this girl is
It's like
Cliff Clavin's daughter.
Yes.
But she sees Bob in the back of the car, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Bob. Hey, guess what? I've got a joint. You want to smoke it with me?"
Yeah, exactly. I got to go to work. Do you want to smoke a joint?
But we can't let my dad find out because then it'll just all go bad.
We can't hang out in this place that my dad is at all times during the day.
Oh, shit. There he is.
But honestly, I heard that getting a drill through your head is one of the more like peaceful ways to go. Yeah, they say that it's, just kind of, as it goes in, you just kind of like let go, just kind of everything.
So he slaps Bob hard enough that it turns the lathe on. And he forces Bob's head down on this lathe and towards this drill bit so slow and so suspenseful.
It takes
a good 3 minutes for this drill to get into Bob's head.
I was looking at that. How do you think they did that? Like, does that drill, that bit, is it just kind of retract like a...
Maybe so. It could have retracted.
I don't know.
Because you don't see it attached to the lathe, not when it touches his face. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of like, I mean, it looks pretty realistic.
They did a really good job. And even when it goes into the fake head, it did a real good job because it's
like busting out of the other side. Yeah. It looks cool.
But when they show Bob's face and the drill is all the way through his face, I love this because his jaw closes, which sells that it's not a fake head.
It's
But obviously, you don't see the end of the drill bit, so something's holding the other end of the drill bit to make it turn, so it's just touching both sides of his face. But it's actually turning at the same speed. I went back and looked at it several times because.
So wait a minute. So you're saying that the like Steve Martin, like the arrow through the head with the little thing, they've made a fully rotating like.
That's good shit. Yeah, it was fun.
It's cool.
Good death.
I mean, that's what I think about, her throwing up the guts. And that drill scene is what I think about when I think about this movie. And I do think about it a lot. Okay. So now they're back at like the courthouse or something? Like,
I don't know.
City Hall?
Kind of looks like it.
It is City of the Living Dead.
It's not, but it's not City Hall of the Living Dead. Come on.
It's not like property taxes of the living dead or something.
No, they went to the coroner's house or the
oh my God. The town's like so small that they're going to go over to the coroner.
Right. They're going to the funeral director's house thinking that he knew about the body and he's probably behind it. So they're going to go check in on. So they're going there, but it gives them a reason to go back to the cemetery.
Oh my God. Roll your windows up. It's so windy that it has to be there. They have like little like sand dunes in his car. Roll up your goddamn windows. What does that mean that there's a shadow at the City Hall thing? Who is that?
Looks like a woman. But that had to give them a reason to go back to the cemetery, and that's where they meet finally Christopher George and Mary Woodhouse.
Oh yeah, they haven't teamed up.
No, they haven't. Now that's how they teamed up.
Now we're getting our team together at the how far are we in?
Exactly.
I'm in an hour.
Yep.
No.
I'm right an
about
hour. Because they're at the cemetery and they're trying to find the priest's grave, in which it just so happens that our psychologist knows exactly where it is. Oh, it's right over there. You mean where he hanged himself? Yeah. Psh, I come here all the time.
We could have walked there, but I didn't want to leave. That's a kind of a bad neighborhood that I didn't want to leave my car in. But yeah, it's just seconds away from my house.
But he had to take the girl back to the house because she didn't want to be near the cemetery. She was wise to stay away from the cemetery.
I am really starting to love this guy.
The psychologist?
Yes. He just acts so out of his element, and yet he hasn't gotten his brain scooped out or anything yet. Gross out. We're going to cut from the cemetery into Maggot Town.
Maggot Town.
Doot. Just pulling into Maggot Town.
Next stop, Maggot Town.
Mm-hmm. All
right, we'll set it up.
Well, we left our heroes in a cemetery.
And why did they go from the cemetery back to his psychologist office just to meet the girl?
Don't know.
Well, maybe so. And to discuss their plan and or what's been happening in this town, because our girl who was once dead saw the vision and she has to explain it to everybody else.
Yes.
That's it.
Wait, what did you say again?
Exactly.
I don't know that it matters.
It doesn't matter. She's just there to fill in everybody and set up this scene. The windows bust open.
Yeah, they are maggots.
And buckets.
Yeah, buckets and buckets of maggots.
Tons of maggots.
Which I feel like maybe that is, I don't know a lot about it. I'm going to, we've got to do some research, but, I think that Lucio Fulci and Dario Argento were making movies at the same time. I don't think they really got along. And, Dario Argento famously, I think he's bred maggots for movies and stuff, like Phenomena with Connolly.
Jennifer Connelly.
Jennifer Connelly. I couldn't think of her first name. I think that famously has
tons of maggots.
They really, just all kinds of larvae.
But this says in IMDb trivia that the scene where the window opens wide and lots of maggots fly in.
Lots is a understatement. It is like buckets of maggots.
It said it was filmed with the help of 2 wind machines and 22 pounds of actual maggots.
Yeah. The the ASPCA were somehow it's in Italy. They were called off to, they were having lunch with someone that day. Because it really, when it cuts to, of course, they've got little spots on their face. They're getting blasted with
completely blasted. I wonder if they even had a clue how much was going to be blown in, because they're just.
I can see, in the blonde girl's. I can see in her face that it's like, you motherfucker. You said there were going to be some maggots blown. You didn't say Mr. Bulky's 10 pounds of maggots blown into my.
But the close-ups, really
well, they just put
some glue on their face.
Glue, and just but those are maggots stuck to their face. They're moving. They're moving a lot.
And when Sandra, the artist, when she goes down on her knees and she vomits, I don't think that was planned. I think
you think that was. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I got a maggot stuck in my tooth. That thing was blowing so hard at me.
This more trivia says, that director Lucio Fulci always carried around a bag with his trademark pipe and tobacco. And one day on the set, he reached into the bag and found a handful of maggots, which had been used earlier in the film with the maggots blown through the window.
This is my favorite, like, note to the side.
The perpetrator of this prank was rumored to be Christopher George, who did not get along with Fulci.
I love that. So, you know, Christopher George, he's not like beholden to any, you know, every other cast member is like, I'll do whatever it is to be a Italian, you know, in Italian movies. Christopher George is like, that probably doesn't give a fuck.
I'm probably not coming
but
back
I feel
here.
but I feel like Lucio Fulci is like, you know, suck it up. I'm gonna, you know, t-shirt gun blast some maggots into your face, and you just got to deal with it, women. Do you get that feeling? I get that. Sort of like Jennifer Connelly in Phenomena, you know? I mean, she is like really like submerged in water with like worms.
That is so disgusting.
All kinds of like gross.
How did she not get dysentery?
Who says she didn't?
So I love this. After all the maggots are flying in, everybody's just composing themselves, brushing themselves off. The phone rings. I love this. Now, whoever did the sound effects for the maggots did a great job, because it sounds like the whole room is crawling.
Yeah, on my closed captioning, I think it said squishy sound, which is pretty.
They're all just kind of looking at each other like, what the fuck? But when he brushes the maggots off the phone to answer the phone and shakes the handset.
Christopher George leans over because he's got long hair. You know, it's just kind of waved back in kind of a old style, you know. He leans over and shakes his head. I mean, shakes his hair back and forth, and maggots just like pour out of it in that scene. Have you seen The Sister Under the Stairs?
Yes.
That was a cool...
That's a cool scene. But she's just taking John upstairs, right?
Yeah. And suddenly, this is like Ed Wood crazy. It goes from her grabbing the back of her hair to like Yaphet Kotto's hand, like taking a scoop of ice cream out of the back of her head. Did she get a graft of like did she get like Bubba Smith's like arm or something? And I don't know. Where did that big black hand come from?
And why is the zombie go-to now just to grab somebody by the back of the head and just squish it until you can crush
their head like mashed potatoes?
Yeah. But I do like how some of the brains come out on the side of the hand.
Yes.
Do we ever get to see what happens to John, or does he just run away? We just assume he gets killed?
No, there's in my version, the same girl is after him, but then the psychiatrist shows up.
Okay, yeah, because John runs away, and then one zombie jumps off like the bridge or something and tries to grab him, and he runs back.
He has baloney like stapled to his face or something. Moaning stops, wind moans.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing on my subtitles. That's pretty cool.
I love closed captioning.
Oh my God. Christopher George has probably the 8th cigar that he smoked today in his mouth. It is like midnight, and he is still smoking a cigar.
Actually, I'm not even sure if he's smoking it or if he's just holding it in his mouth.
Yeah, kind of like the guy in Aliens. He's just basically like eating a cigar.
So I've jumped up to where the guys are back in the bar. Our 3 guys.
I'm at the scene right before that where Christopher George and the completely inept psychiatrist and Blondie are going to the cemetery. That's kind of a cool scene. They all 3 walk through the cemetery gates.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool. There's fog.
Of course there's fog.
Did I say fog? I meant, yes, Schlitz.
Schlitz on tap.
Do you think Schlitz had any,
They better
kind
have.
of like skin in the game in this? Like,
I do kind of like how in the reflection of the zombie girl on the outside where the Schlitz sign is. That's kind of cool.
I've got to admit, I don't know what happens in this scene. The Italian Cliff Clavin had a good line right there. There's a 70% chance of demons in Dunwich tonight. There is a Schlitz sign, all three of the actors in the scene, and you can see Mary in reflection.
I love that.
What is that she's reflected in? I almost don't want to hit.
It kind of looks like she's just like Garrett Morris in the very corner of the screen talking for the hearing impaired.
Yeah, like they photoshopped her in, like with like a halo around her, kind of. Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
General Francisco Franco is still dead.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, the zombie attack inside the freaking bar is cool. But I wanted to point out when they were walking through the cemetery and that's when they hear more of the just
weird sounds.
Yeah. There's an ape. There's a screaming goat. There's
like a fainting goat. I love, and like I said, I can't imagine that Sam Raimi didn't, watch this movie and like, I love the like ambient sounds that they make out of, I don't even know what I guess they're made out of like synthesizers.
I have no idea.
Gotta get one, like a keytar.
Gotta get me a keytar. But at what point, I mean, I think the psychologist did this with John just a minute ago when they were confronted by one of the zombies, is just close my eyes and then it'll go away.
Yeah, like Peter Tork and the Monkeys.
I was going with a Freddy Krueger type thing. If I don't give you any power, you don't exist.
Yeah,
but I like you better. Thing. I like that one. Yours is better.
Yeah. Well, if you can't see anybody, then you're completely hidden. You know what I mean? You just cover your eyes up and anyway.
Because all the zombies are in the bar and they're going after, I mean, they're so slow of scenes by these zombies walking. I don't know why I didn't think they can't escape because they're the slowest of slow moving zombies here.
I love those dead eyes. I like it when their eyes are going in different directions.
Well, because they're glued down on the other side. Yeah. So we're at the cemetery and removing the tops of the crypt. My
subtitles say animal cackling, which is fucking terrifying. How did they decide that? Is this like the hell mouth, like the thing that they can go through to get to the other?
I guess so, because that's where the priest was buried. That was the Thomas's crypt.
Okay.
And they removed the lid to find out that there's just a tunnel underneath.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, if I had known that, I would have made that into a man cave, with big 65-inch TV and.
At least there's a ladder going down into the gate of hell. I mean, really. Okay, so this is like a crypt. Okay, so they go down and there's actually the like mausoleum style names on the wall of who's buried where.
Cool.
Inside this crypt. So they go to Father Thomas's. Did they just conveniently find a crowbar in the corner?
Yes. From the last people that tried to come down there.
Yes. And I love this because Christopher George is trying to pry this open at the corner of freaking Father Thomas's grave, chips it off, and somebody shotguns a rat out onto the girl. Exactly.
They had it in a t-shirt. Rat launcher.
It is. It just immediately shoots out of there and attacks her. I love it. It's hilarious.
That's not a sugar glider. That's a fucking rat.
That's a rat.
Guys, it's almost the end of the movie. I hope you figure out these two chuckle nuts. Oh my God. You see the scene where he lifts him up and throws him through the
Yes.
Yeah. Get in there, asshole. It's like
Okay, so we do get a shot back at the bar where you see a little bit of actually zombie cannibalism going on.
And it's all supposed to make you think that this is something that's happening
all over the world and not necessarily in just Dunwich.
In the very left-hand corner you can see a zombie, quote unquote zombie in a dress kind of limping around. So what does that mean? That he can turn other, because so far it's just been like immediate grody death, you know?
This is when she gets attacked by the rats. She goes against the wall and it's got the booby trap skeletons popping out at her.
I love this. I love the way she comes in with that spider webs kind of backlit.
And who is she?
She's just Sandra. She's the artist.
That is the artist. Okay.
But they got a hold of, they killed, she was killed by the.
Right. So the back of her head should be missing.
Yes. And she squeezes Christopher George's.
Mm-hmm. Kills him like
butter, and then the rats eat it. Pretty cool.
Immediately the rats get in it and start just eating at the back of his head.
This tastes like Shatner's wig. That should be like a medical marijuana strain. Shatner's wig. And again, the professor has not done a goddamn thing. Nothing.
He's looking around. He's like,
if anything, he's used other people as a
shield.
Yeah. A shield.
Yeah.
I'm
has still so glad it's not me.
Exactly. Is this a type of situation that a beard could help? No? Do you have any uses for a beard?
But no, he does help. He does pull up another crowbar, random crowbar, shoves it through the zombie chick's stomach. Oh she God. Falls over dead, and her stomach is just pulsating.
Yeah, and she's got an obvious bladder of blood in there.
And he turns around and he's crying.
Yeah, he's comforted. See, the girl is comforting him.
Exactly.
It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you've been through all this while we've fucking been possessed and buried alive. And you know what, Roger? You just take some time off. Just call it FMLA and just,
You deserve it. You
deserve it. You've been through a lot. Your beard tells a story.
This has been a hell of a week for you.
Yeah. And Beard tells a story about the digger and the dealer, and I don't know. God, there's still another fucking. What's happening? I thought that was the end.
No, they've still got to confront the priest. But God. I love this set when they're crawling through trying to get out or whatever. Is it just because they're in the cemetery? Is this what happened to the bodies, that they've now sunken in through the soil into this cave-like structure, but they're covered in cobwebs?
Yes.
I love it. It's just random dangling skeletons.
That is what's happening. And the hand coming out with the cobwebs on it.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome.
All of the zombies, all of the skeletons and everything just starts popping out to come and get them. They're oblivious, though. They just keep moving. They don't notice all this.
They're irritated by this situation. Well, they might be able to keep us alive for eternity and just eat at our intestines and stuff. But, that is a cool set.
The cobwebs are so thick in this. And you see the zombies start moving in the background and pulling at the webs and shit. That's cool.
Yeah. It's basically like somebody that's really into Halloween and can
They came out into this little area that now has like a stained glass ceiling. What is that?
I don't know.
Is that part of the church? Is that under the
Yes.
church? Just yes, that's what you have.
I don't know who would set the precedent for this. Like, all of this stuff was happening. The like ending that's a non-ending, you know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Evil Dead, or like, I just want to know who came first. But
So they're getting trapped in the corner by all these zombies. Meanwhile, the priest just appears, and I love that dead look on his face. He's just still and kind of just looking down at the ground.
I'm making union wages. I can
Just-
hang here all fucking day if you want me to. I've been here since 5:30 this morning. You don't think I'm getting paid overtime? It's a Saturday too. I get fucking time and a half.
So they do it again. They do the crying blood on this chick when you can kindly see the tubes on the corner of her eyes.
Oh my God, that is not a special effect. He really has pink eye. He probably rubbed it duty, and it's Trapper John just stuck him in the giblets. His crotch burst into flames.
Crotch bursting. And then every one of the zombies catch on fire. And that didn't.
Is that just known as the
I guess because it was a crucifix, and
that poor stunt man? They're just like, turn around a little bit.
they set everything on fire. Everybody.
Just make a really slow circle.
So everything burns to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
All the zombies are dead.
Presumably.
The priest dies. He turns into a pile of ash.
Why is he so surprised that all that? I'm just so. If we had one thing that told us, like, well, he, found he was obsessively reading like a book or something. Damn, dude, one of those stunt guys just fell down on fire and it looked badass. This is way better than those monks on fire. I shouldn't probably bring up the specter of Vietnam and who lost and who won. They look like they've been chimney sweeps.
Yeah.
Like the guy from
Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney,
Chim Chim Cherry.
That's Dick Van Dyke.
Hey, watch your language. What about Dyke Van Dyke? Well, okay, wait a minute. The kid was running up to. It wasn't like they were zombies or nothing, right?
Well,
they were supposed to have died, so him running to them is weird.
Well, no, they crawl out of the grave.
Foggy deputies.
The deputies are, for some reason, brought the kid to the cemetery.
Well, Doyle, what do you think? We're going to have to adopt this kid. Well,
You got to do what you got to do.
There's Professor.
And she just screams. Fade to black.
I hope you have an explanation for this ending.
There's a little bit in here.
That is the worst ending to a movie I have ever seen. And I'm even talking about Temple of Doom. We did it, though. We made it through that movie.
Remember that movie
Remember?
we just made through? Yeah.
When you look at Lucio Fulci and on IMDb, it's like 2 sentences in, and it's already problematic. But then he, and this is something that I probably should know a lot about, but like I really do think that like Argento and Fulci and Bava and Lamberto Bava, and we're gonna have to do Demons at some point, because that clearly fits into the. I mean,
even though Demons played the theater, it made very little money. But what I've got here, the kid at the end turns out to be a zombie.
Okay, so they just didn't shoot that part, or like.
No. The ending was tacked on because the negative of the original ending was destroyed in the lab.
Oh.
So there are a ton of explanations for how the end took shape, and neither Lucio Fulci or Dardano Sacchetti was ever any help in straightening it out. Some say that the editor spilled coffee on the footage of the original ending, forcing the crew to improvise.
Was it espresso?
Maybe.
One of those tiny little cups of espresso?
Oh.
Oh my God. Okay, wait a minute. Now, already we're at a...
We've gone to a lower point here. So some say that Fulci changed his mind about the end after shooting was complete. And this was the best that he could do. The best that they could do.
Just fall in love?
Yeah. So,
the best that you can do. The best that you can do is fall in love. Remember that one?
No, sing it to me again.
Oh my God. No, I won't, but I mean, there's 2 more movies that have almost identical plots that we could cover in the next 2 weeks, or we could just
say we did and move on.
I'm just saying, like, this one seems like we could have put all of the like horror, like the drill and the,
could have just hit the highlights.
Well, if there was a plot, that would be great. There's the Book of Enoch. And
does it come back up in the later ones?
I don't know.
I guess we'll have to find out.
No, I don't think so. The reason we do these is because they're so gross, and that vomit scene is—that's
probably the grossest.
I mean, don't you think it would be the pinnacle? I mean, we're going to revisit this subject later,
like tomorrow.
Maybe.
Anything else you want to add about Fulci?
No, I think they're a little grindhousey. Like, I don't know how much money he had to make these movies.
I'll do some research and see if I can find out what the actual budget was for these films.
Yeah, I want to know how Did
he fund his own films?
I don't know.
Because
I
they're
can't imagine.
Kind of obscure.
They are.
So, something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 more movies that are supposed to be within this trilogy. So, is our next episode going to be?
Next episode should be The Beyond.
Okay, I'm going to do it completely with white contact lenses and
just stumbling around the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Then.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite movies, but I watched it it was called Gates of Hell, and it was on VHS.
I love the box art for Gates of Hell too.
That was my first introduction to Lucio Fulci, who is, the godfather of gore. He kind of shares the title of godfather of gore with Herschel Gordon Lewis.
When you originally saw the Gates of Hell, was it one of the shorter versions?
I don't know. I know that there's more in the version that I just watched than the old version that I had.
And we just briefly touched on that there were several versions of the film, especially in the German market, because they kept banning it.
Yeah, it was one of the video nasties in the UK.
Why? I mean, you see this now, and is this any worse than the Splatterhouse shit that's on the big screen?
When I saw this movie, I think this is the first Italian horror movie that I ever saw. Okay. I can't think of another one that would have been before this, but and it's called Gates of Hell, and it kind of is similar to one of George Romero's, maybe Dawn of the Dead sort of looks like that, But then I rented it and it was all dubbed. Now I'm really into some heavy shit. Like, it's not even in my language anymore. And I know they get up to some weird things over there, like Mondo Connie. You remember Mondo Connie? It's not exactly like Faces of Death, but it's like weird.
Yeah, we had those. Those were definitely in the Moratorium, right next to the Faces of Death, 1 through 4. I think we had Mondo Connie, 1 and 2. Yeah, we had all those in a separate section of just, oddities and weird shit.
I kind of remember.
If you like this, you'll love this.
I just like the idea. I'm still sticking with the moratorium thing because I do like that it's like a secret room kind of thing
Hmm.
in a old like rental place, you know. Not for dirty stuff.
That room was there too. Considering this was banned and this was frowned upon, though, I mean, can you see? Is it just because of the time? Because it was in the 80s, it was in the very early 80s.
Uh,
Were they really pushing the boundaries?
well, I think that there are some things that are considered video nasties that, like, you know, there's kind of like the satanic panic in America in the 80s, you
Hmm.
know, they just like pulled anything that was even vaguely. And also, I mean, I would love to know because I rented Gates of Hell, you know, in a big, I don't know how to describe it, a big plastic box.
No, they did have some ultra big freaking
Just
boxes.
square
Yeah.
plastic boxes.
Yeah.
And that's what I had Gates of Hell in, you know. I think that the first time I watched that, I was like, holy crap, like I thought I knew, like I'd just been watching American horror
Hmm.
movies, you know, and slashers and,
Because that's what
you
we
know,
were getting into in the early 80s was a lot more slashers instead of.
yeah, like Friday the 13th and but we'll talk about the I mean this isn't the last time that we'll talk about Lucio Fulci, I'm sure, because he's got, you know, there's a bunch more movies to watch. Have we decided are we going to go are we going to do the Beyond next
Yep,
week?
the Beyond's next week.
Okay, so just, you know, get prepared for almost the same movie but
But with a blind chick.
yes. They have a Criterion collection uh, version of it.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next week then.
Yes, I love City of the Living Dead. It's got some really gross out stuff. I mean, obviously the girl pukes her guts out. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
why we're watching it.
All right then.
Okay.
Signing off.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to The Moratorium, an MT Cornfield production. For more fun and stupidity, stay tuned. Next week, Jason and I continue the Gates of Hell trilogy with Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. Is it a ghost story? Is it a zombie film? Will there be gallons of maggots? Check it out and see. You can stream The Beyond on Shudder and or most major platforms for as low as $2.99. Again, please like, share, and subscribe, then rinse and repeat. We appreciate your support. If you have any movie suggestions or just want to tell us how much we really suck, you can contact us at moviemoratorium@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and long live VHS.
Somebody said 10-4, good buddy.